Welcome to the SuperStar Sequencer Morph tutorial. In this tutorial we will cover creation of a sequence using morphs. We're going to start where we left off with the basic tutorial. I'm going to open the sequence we created there that I called Carol of the Bells.sup, and after a few seconds processing the audio file, we can play it here. You can see these are the scenes we created in that tutorial, and right where the cello comes in is we're going to start doing the morphs. And to scroll over to that point, we're going to go up to where the tape recorder buttons are here and click on the forward button, and that will scroll 2 seconds forward. I'm going to do that 3 times, and we're going to get up to 6 seconds. And the first cello note starts right here at this first timing mark, and they're going to add a morph there. To bring up the morph dialog box, we can click on Tools and click on Morphs, and that's the morph dialog box. And also you can bring up the morph dialog box by clicking on this button right here. There's a group of 4 buttons. The first one is the Scene dialog box, and the second one is the morph dialog box. We are going to first just add the default morph. I'm going to mark a time up here on the time scale, and if I just click on add without doing anything else, it'll add the default morph. And if we play it, you'll see it's a red morph going from the top to bottom. That's because it had the start of the morph marked up here with 1A, 1B, and down here the end of the morph, which is marked with 2A, 2B. And the start in the dialog box is called state 1, and the end is called state 2. And as far as the way it marks the effect up here, the leading edge of the morph will start at this time and it will end at this time, and then the tail will keep on going up until this time. We'll play it again here. And so that's what this stuff means up here when it represents the effect on the in the time layers region up here. For this song, I want the morph to go back and forth instead of from top to bottom, and I want to start at the first timing mark up to and not including the second timing mark. And so I'm going to go down here, and with the left mouse button I will click and drag and mark the state 1 of the morph here, and with the right mouse button I will click and drag and mark the state 2 over here. So that's going to make it go from left to right. We have to remember, I'm going to click on modify to bring that morph over here, and now if I play it, it went from left to right in sync with that first cello note. Now for the second effect, I'm going to mark a time at the second timing mark, and I want it to go the other direction. I'm going to start with the click and drag on the left mouse button over here, click and drag with the right mouse button over here. So now 1A and 1B are over here, 2A, 2B are over here. We click on add, and this morph is going to go from right to left. If we play that, you can see we started our zigzag up the ribbons, and I'm going to do another one here. We're going to go left click and drag here, right click and drag over here, except I did that too long. We'll do that again. Click on add, and then we want to do one more. Mark the time up there, and then we want to go from right to left on this one. I do a left click and drag over here, right click and drag over here, and click on add. The first 4 notes are da 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 da. The first 4 notes go up the scale, so I want them to go up the ribbons. If we play this, and we see we zigzag up the ribbons. Now, I personally think that looks better if we make the tail shorter. So I'm going to select all 4 of these morphs, and over here in the morph dialog box you'll notice this region is labeled tail, and there's a time length for the tail. The default setting was 1 second. I'm going to reduce that to 0.35 seconds. Click on Group Modify, and now that modified all 4 of the tails for that group. So now if I play this, the tail is shorter. Now the program automatically, when you add an effect, it just finds the next clear time layer and adds it there, and so it ended up putting them there's, you know, this one's at the top and this one goes down at the bottom, which is the opposite of what's happening down here in the sequence. And just for me as a human, so I can visualize what's happening better, I'm going to select this morph and use the move effect down button to move him down there. I'm going to move him there and move him up there and him up there. Now this is going to play exactly the same, but it just, me as a human can now visualize that these effects are going up the ribbons. Now on the next note is coming down, so I want it to zigzag, start zigzagging down the ribbons, and all we have to do there is I'm going to select this effect, click on the copy button, click where I want to paste it, click on the paste button. Oops, except I got mixed up, but that's easy to move that over. There's a nudge left button right here. I'll just click that until it gets over where I want it. And now I want to click on that effect, click on copy, click where I want to paste it, paste, and do that the same here. Copy, paste. And so now when we play this, it zigzags up and then it zigzags down, but we want the notes keep going down, and so I'm going to do a few more here. This morph goes from left to right, so the next one I'm going to go from right to left, do a click and drag with the left mouse button there, click and drag with the right mouse button over here, click on add, and then we want one more note, and we will go from right to left on him, click on add, and now it goes da, 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 and at that point it starts going up again, so we can use our same trick of doing copy, paste, copy, paste. And by the way, I've been using the copy button up here, but you can click on Control C and then click over here and click on Control V, and that works also. But anyway, so we're going to keep on going, copy, paste, and copy, paste. So let's play it now. Okay, that gets us through the first series of notes. Now, when we got the top here, this note, of course, was much longer, so that effect went too fast. So I'm going to change the time extent of this guy. Actually, I can do it by just selecting a different time and saying modify, but also I can do it with the nudge length right button. And this group of buttons here are the nudge buttons, and this one will make the length of the effect longer. So I can just click on it until it gets to the length I want. And let's just play it again and see how it looks. Now for this guy, I think I want him just a little bit longer, and I want the tail to be longer. So I'm going to make the tail, move the tail back up to 1 second on this guy and click on modify. And let's play it again. And so now that matches the long note much better. Now I'm going to now show what the head length means on the state 1 and state 2. Right now the head and the tail are both red, so you don't see the head because it is the same color as the tail. But if I make the tail green, click on modify, instead of red, now the head is red but the tail is green. And if we play this, you can see the first pixel of the head, the first pixel of the morph was red and the tail was green. And this is a good time to show the single step mode here. If I mark a region on the time scale and then click on the pause button, where these tape recorder buttons, there's a pause / freeze frame button. As soon as I click on pause, if I click on the forward button, it's going to like freeze frame. It's going to step through frame by frame what's going on here. And now you can more clearly see, and you can use the right and left arrow buttons to step through it also. Right now I'm hitting the right arrow button. You can see this first leading edge of the morph is red, that's the head, and then the tail is green. And as you can see, our time is going here. Right here is where it hits the edge, and then the green tail keeps on going. Now I'm going to take it out of freeze frame mode. When we play this, I think it looks cooler to make the head bigger, and so the default length of the head is 1 pixel here. Well, I'm going to bump that up to 6. I'm going to make the state 1 head length 6 and also the state 2 head length 6. Click on modify. Now that made the morph longer. This represents where the start of the head will hit the left edge, and this is where the end of the head will hit the left edge, and then from here to here is where the tail will go across the left edge. So let's play this. And there you saw the head was 6 pixels long, so you see a red region go across followed by the green region, and I think that looks cooler. So that's all I wanted to do on the actual Carol of the Bells. Well, one more thing. Let's play the whole thing. If I click on the fast rewind button twice, well, actually I just had to click on it once to get it back to the beginning. The fast forward and fast rewind buttons move the time scale 8 seconds. Now let's click on the play all button, which note that the play all button is different than the play 8 seconds button. The play 8 seconds button is here, the play all button is over here. We're going to click on it, and we see our scenes that we did here, and then we see our morphs come in here. Now you might say, well, gee, these notes keep on going here, so we ought to have these scenes keep on going. Well, we can do that. I'm going to scrunch these up so that they're all in layer 1 just to make it more compact, and then we can click on copy, scroll over, paste, we can scroll over some more, and we can paste again. And now we'll click on fast rewind to get back to the beginning. And now when we hit the play all buttons, we'll see these scenes are going to keep going the whole time. Alright, cool. So we did the first little part of Carol of the Bells here. I'm going to scroll to a blank region here, and I'm going to turn the volume down because I'm just going to show some other features of morphs and not worry about keeping it in sync with a song. Okay, to bring up the Morph dialog box, we can click on this button right here, or we could have clicked on Tools and selected Morphs. I'm going to select 1 second of time up here, and I'm going to click once with the left mouse button at the top and once with the right mouse button at the bottom. Now I've just marked 1 point at the top, 1 at the bottom. Click on Add, and I'm going to go back. Well, I'll leave it there. If we play this, we see we have a morph with a 6-pixel head coming down and with a green tail. When with a SuperStar display, the top of the star is supposed to be far away from you, and the bottom of it is supposed to look like it's close to you. Now, if this was a comet or shooting star coming down from far away to close, you would expect the head to be small at the top and large at the bottom. So I'm going to keep it at 6 for the state 2 head length, but for the state 1 head length, I'm going to change that to 1. Click on Modify, and now you'll see when it comes down, the head is going to be small at the top and big at the bottom. And with the resolution of these two, the video on these tutorials, that may be hard to see, so I'm going to do that in single step mode here. I click on the pause button there, and then I'm just going to hit the right arrow key, and you can see the head is small at the top and it gets bigger as it gets down at the bottom. And so it helps give the visualization of making it come from far away to up close. Now I'm going to click on the stop button to get out of pause mode, and let's play it again. Now that looks cool, but if it was a real shooting star, it would, or a real comet coming down, it would start slow and get faster as it gets closer to us. Well, that's why this acceleration control is here. Right now it's set to 0, which means no acceleration. If we click that up to 5 and click on Modify, now when we play it, you notice it started slow and it went faster as it went towards the bottom. If we want to max out the acceleration at 10 and click on Modify, it's going to start out really slow and get faster as it goes to the bottom. And now to another effect we can do is sort of a bouncing effect, as if, because this acceleration also simulates dropping a ball. As gravity accelerates an object as it falls, we can make this look like a ball that is dropping down, and then when it hits the bottom, it bounces back up. So I'm going to copy this and paste it. However, when we bounce back up, we want the acceleration to go the other way. We want it to start fast and slow down, and to do that we use a negative number, so it's going to decelerate. So I chose -10 here, and then we want the head to start at 6 at the bottom. We want it to start big and get small. So I set the state 1 head length to 6 and the state 2 head length to 1. We click on Modify, and now let's play this. Oops, okay. I also forgot, I just did a copy paste, which was really not a smart thing to do, because I had to change everything about that morph, including the direction. I want it to start at the bottom and end at the top. So we click on Modify, go boing, and now that bounced down, bounced up. However, we lost the bounce, the visualization of the bouncing, because the tail is so long. So I'm going to again select both those and reduce the tail down to like 0.3 seconds. Click on Group Modify. Now let's play it again. And if we I have both these selected, I can click on copy and then paste. I can do that again, copy, paste, and now when we play it, we get the boing, boing, boing. Now, another thing I like to do is I'll select all these, and I think if you're going to try to do a comet, you want the head to be white. Now, another little feature here is this word that says main up here. If we click on it, it will cycle through the 8 basic colors for the head. You see it went to orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, white. Okay, now it has set the start and end color of the main color, which is the head color, to white. And I think a comet looks better with a red tail. So if I just do a single click on this start color, it cycles through the colors, and I'm just going to go till it gets to red. And now I click on group modify, and now you can see the head of all these morphs became white and the tail became red. So let's play this. Boing, boing, boing. And that's pretty cool. And one other thing I wanted to show is that if you do make a mistake, there is an undo feature. I can click on the edit button and it says undo group modify. So now it went back to how I had it before that. And then if you want, if you said, oh nope, I want to redo that, you can click on edit, and it says there's an option to redo the group modify. If I do regroup modify, I'm back to where I was. So that can be very handy. If you make a mistake, you can undo and redo. And that's everything I wanted to show today. The next tutorial I would suggest taking is the export tutorial. Thank you and have a super day.